Welcome to Love and Hustle. We share unfiltered stories of marriage, entrepreneurship, and scaling to seven figures without losing sight of what matters most.
The raw, the real, the sacrifices, and the lessons learned the hard way.
This is Love and Hustle. Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Love and Hustle. I have a guest today on this episode, Brooke Elizabeth. Brooke with an E, Elizabeth with an S. I am so excited. She's one of my coaching alumni, but she is just like a force. You are very young in our industry, and you have quite literally crushed it at entrepreneurship. More importantly, I think just like knowing how much you've achieved in such a short amount of time is so inspiring, and it's why I wanted to have you on this episode. So let's just jump in. So I would love it if you would just share a little bit more with everyone about you, where you're based, what you shoot, all the things.
Well, thank you for having me. I was super excited when you sent me the email. I am Brooke. I am located in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I specialize in motherhood, babies, seniors, all the things from bump to graduation, really. I recently just got out of the wedding industry about a month ago, so we are kind of celebrating that right now and really transitioning and focusing a lot on artwork now, incorporating that into my business. So a lot of fun things.
Yeah. So I think that was what really prompted me to get you on the episode, is because I texted you and I said, "Are you done with weddings?" And you were like, "Officially, as of this month, yes." And I was like, "Oh, this is like a celebratory moment. Like this is, I feel like this podcast is to like celebrate this moment for you." And this,
I love it.
I think because I have coached several people who have pivoted out of weddings entirely. And I know it's such a huge decision to make. It's a scary one to make.
Very scary.
And so I would love to just like have everyone here listening, whether you're in the wedding space or not. I think there's so many amazing takeaways from this call, but more importantly for the wedding photographers listening, or if you know a wedding photographer who wants to pivot out of that space and join us over here in the portrait side of photography, this is the episode. So, Okay, so first, let's give people a little bit of a foundation on you. Obviously, I know a lot having coached you. Tell us about like your background, college, like when you started your business, all of that.
So way back, I feel like my story is a little unique because I do not have kids yet. And I feel like a lot of the stories that I hear is like I had my firstborn and I really fell in love with photography. And while we're really excited to have kids in the future, that's not my story. I really started doing photography as like a hobby. My mom really wanted me to find something to do in the summers. And I just picked up our family camera and I read the manual front to back when I think I was like 13 years old or something. And I would practice on my siblings, practice on different things in my room, just being like, what did this change the photo if I changed this? And then I started with high school seniors while I was like a junior or sophomore in high school. And
That's insane. you were like already starting your business and you were a teenager.
Younger than the people I'm still younger than most of the clients, but so I started with high school seniors and then go to college. I knew before I even graduated from high school that I was going to go to college to have that safety net and have that safety blanket of going, and I wanted to make my parents proud. But I knew deep down that I was going just to like check the box, and that I wanted to work for myself. So throughout college, I really fell in love with like the wedding world and seeing all these like pretty images on social media and like going to these events, and just it really drew me in. So I started doing weddings on the weekends, and I was hardly at school at college. I always joke with my friends like I should have just stayed home and done community school or something. But on the weekends, I was driving back I went to school about 3 hours away, 2.5. So on the weekends, I would like line my classes up and speak with my professors like, hey, this is what I do. This is what I'm really passionate about. I'm missing your class on Friday and I will not be there. Or like, here's my website that I built at the time. I like had a crappy, I don't know, thing that I built, and I would show them like, this is what I do. This is what I really love to do. If I'm not at class, this is why. And they were really supportive of that. And I was gone like almost every weekend working for other photographers as their second shooter, getting into the industry. And then, yeah, it really just picked up from there. Like I think it was my second year into school where I was like, I'm just going to finish school as quickly and like as fast as I could. And I never looked back. So I graduated, I think like in 3 years, because I just wanted to be done, you know, like I was like getting out of here. And yeah, never applied for a corporate job. I just, all my friends we were all like in our senior year, you know, and they were like, where are you applying to? Because I was in, my degree is in advertising, and then I have 2 minors, one in public relations and then one in photography. And everyone was going to these ad agencies, like, where are we looking? Our summer internships. And I was just like, blinders on, like, I am going to do weddings. And yeah.
You're like, see y'all later.
I know. I know.
I'll be on a wedding.
I do look back and I like feel like I should have, you know, probably enjoyed my college years a little bit more, but
I feel the same way.
Yeah. But then I'm also like, I wouldn't be where I am today if it weren't for that. So
yeah, I definitely feel as if I rushed through. I should, now that I have so much, I'm adulting, got 4 kids to be responsible for, a house to pay for. I wish I had enjoyed that time more.
Me too.
I had a job in college as well as being in school. And so I think that really helped me to stay the course and to get it done. But in hindsight, I really did not live it up to the extent that
I didn't either. I know. I really hope, like, if I could go back, I would change. I took it so seriously. Like, I was doing 3 other jobs and this on the weekends, and like over whatever it's called, like where they were like maxed out your credits, and it's just like I just rushed. I wanted to get through it. I wanted to do what I was doing. And yeah.
I did summer semester as well. I never took a summer off. I never went and studied abroad. I never did the like Cancun spring break. I never did any of that. I took it very seriously too. And so meanwhile, Zach, on the other hand, did not. And in fact, he had some pretty wild years in college. I mean, he's incredibly smart, so he was able to get away with having a very party boy lifestyle while in college.
But so I also find myself like, that's just not me. Like, even if I did, like, that's just not me, who I am at a core. And yeah, I really just followed what I told myself I wanted. And that's one of my strengths and my weaknesses, is when I set my mind to something, it's happening. Like,
yes.
There is no turning back. So
I love that. And I think that persistence is a huge part of why you are where you are right now, you know? It's definitely okay to have that like time of discovery, but persistence pays off, right? Okay, so you moved into weddings. You like told me something right before we started this call. You said you bought your first house at 20?
21 officially, but yes.
That's incredible.
Thank you. For whatever reason, that was a goal of mine. I don't know why I had that number. I have no idea. But I'm saying, like, when I have something in my head, it's like, we make it happen. Which, like, weddings were great. Weddings helped me network, meet some amazing people, have some of my best friends. Like, I loved it. But it got to a point where it was all consuming, and I was like, there has to be something more than this. I remember COVID hit, all our weddings canceled. I had just gone full time, like not wanting to like apply for a job or anything. And I just remember thinking, like, what am I going to do? All my weddings have moved. So at that time, I did end up finding like some part-time jobs here and there. I think I was doing like real estate photography on the side, going into these like really weird houses and like
Yeah.
trying to do that just to make ends meet. And then 2021 happened, and that was when a lot of wedding photographers kind of felt that everything was doubled. We had a lot of backlog to do. So that year was a really good year for us. And I just was like, this is the time for me to use this large sum to purchase our first home for my husband and I. So
That's amazing.
yeah,
That's so awesome. Yeah, 2020, don't ever like
I
seriously.
know.
Um,
Sorry.
yeah, I definitely think while it really hurt the event and wedding space and really, obviously when we all came back, it was, you know, exploding because everybody wanted to be together again. But I think in the portrait space, what it did for our clients, and more specifically, our niche being in the physical product space, is that people started to realize how important memories were, you know, are to
Mhm.
them,
Yeah.
how much they wanted to invest in their home, you know, like interior design just like exploded.
Yeah.
um, you know, you couldn't get a contractor, you know, for like, it was just, yeah. So, you know, people were really investing in their homes. And I think more than anything, because we were separated, people were investing in their memories because they were
Yeah.
realizing that like you you know, having grandparents in another country, you might not see them for a very, very, very long time in this type of circumstance. So
Mhm.
it definitely brought, I think, so much positive to the industry as a whole.
Yeah.
Um, but okay, so advertising, PR, photography, you bought your first house,
Yes.
and then what? Okay, just give us the when you were like at the top of your wedding career, what did that look like on paper?
Oh my gosh. On paper, I was barely making six figures and I was driving myself to the ground. And it was doing like 2 to 3 a weekend, never home. Like, I don't even know what weekends sound like. I've been doing it for 8 years. That it's like, what are we now that I'm removed from it? I'm like, I have a weekend. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
So it was a lot, and they were long days. They were like anywhere from
Yeah,
8 to 12 hour days. And
exhausting.
I was making at the time, I was charging, can I share numbers? Like,
Sure.
okay.
People love
I
transparency.
I think I started at like 3,000 for an 8 hour package. And then I left when I was at 55 to 6,000, fifty
Okay.
five hundred to 6,000. Um, and I just remember being like, there has to be something else. Like, and I would look at my friends and I would be like, do you enjoy this? Because I don't. Like, I don't enjoy having to have this date on my calendar for 12 to 18 months prior. I'm doing all of this and like so much work, and it's a very stressful day to me. Like, it would just really get to me about the like pressure of missing these moments, or like making sure you're capturing this how they want to remember it. And there's a lot of elements that are out of your control. I just remember being like, how am I going to do this when I'm 50? And like, I knew I couldn't keep doing it like this. And I think I was already starting to dabble into like portraits and only really sharing that on my website and social media because, again, these things are booked so far in advance. I made that decision that like I cannot keep doing this and functioning at this like hustle culture like pace. And making what I was making, it wasn't like amazing for how much work I was putting into it. So I remember July, like I was kind of thinking about it, like what would this look like? And then in July of 2024, I remember I was so sick, like physically sick. I had to go to this wedding, and then the next day I was in the hospital because I was like so sick and I could not do anything. And I remember being like, I cannot miss these weddings. Like, I have to get better. And I was like just really wearing myself down. And I remember I was so sick that I like missed our 4th of July or something, and I took weddings off my page on 4th of July 2024 because I was so like, this is my time and it's gonna take a year in advance to like let this all play out because I had already had 2025 on the books. So yeah, then come 2025 and that next year is when I found you shortly after in July of 2024. And then I just spent the last, like that time really pivoting and saying like, there has to be a better way to do this. And if I'm going to do portraits, I have to do it right and make it work. And then that's when I found your course and just really like connected with you. You were one of the first educators that really shared data and like hard truths and like showed the possibilities of what could happen with portraits. Because when I started like bringing up the idea to my husband that like I don't want to do weddings anymore, or my family, they were very nervous for me. They were like, what do you mean? Like you have what you have because of weddings. And I am the breadwinner in my relationship, and so it is really scary. And I was like, I don't know, but I'm gonna figure it out. Like, because I cannot keep doing this. But I know that there was a lot of doubt with my family, and like just they were scared for me, and I was scared too. And I was like, I don't know, but we're gonna figure it out. So my husband was always really supportive, and he was like, I see how you are on like when you have to come home from these, and how you are after, how you are leading up to it, and like this is not sustainable. So I think summer 2024 is when I really like found you and just was like, if I'm gonna make this pivot to where I want to be, I need to do this the correct way. And that was you.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so happy, and I'm so glad I got to help you. It's really interesting because when I hear you say 6,000 for a wedding, I actually think that's cheap.
It
And
is.
I know that like perception is everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like money is all relative. I actually had a distant family member. I saw them for a gathering, and they were talking about hiring a wedding photographer and for their daughter, and you know, they're just chit-chatting with me, and they're like, you will never guess, Brittany, what they were gonna charge us for this wedding. And I was like, well, before you tell me, like, give me some context. Like, are we having a backyard wedding? Is this an elopement? Is this like, and he's just like, yeah, you know, it's about, you know, 175 to like 220 people. And, you know, we're still getting the head count, and it's going to be at such and such a country club. And so I'm sitting there and I'm expecting like 12 to 15,000.
Mm-hmm.
And she tells me it was 3,500. And I was like, I looked at her and I was like, that's insanely low. Like, I actually am concerned that you might get really crappy photos at that price point.
Six isn't like considered more of that like mid, like higher mid, in the Midwest, like where we're from. But yeah, no, it's not. It ranges, but I put that into perspective. Like when I just made my highest sale, I turned to my husband and I'm like, products just did that for me, what I make in a wedding.
Yeah.
That I have a year on my calendar, and I spend 12 hours there, and then I spend like so many hours afterwards going through delivering this gallery, and then it's done. So whenever I started incorporating artwork and I was getting these sales, I was like, this is replacing, if not doing better than what I was doing, and I'm not like
you're working a fraction of the time.
Yes. And I'm like,
and you're
my
home.
mental health is in a way better spot. Yeah. Oh, I didn't even like talk about my studio. So the home that we bought has a detached garage. And when we bought the home, I was like, sorry, Ian, but that is mine. Like I have a vision. We're going to turn it into a photography studio. So we spent the first year renovating the space. My husband and my father-in-law were doing all the work. I was really just the like visionary. can you do this faster? Or why is this taking so long? Because I was wanting it like, I'm just the classic. I don't really have patience for that kind of stuff. And so that is where I'm able to do a lot of my work is steps outside of my home. We actually got engaged in there on our opening weekend of when we started, because we also rented out to other photographers around the area. And then we had our little wedding ceremony in there too with just our family. So it holds a lot of memories for us. But working in that space has just been like so fun for me.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And I have to like circling back to what you were saying about that July of last year when you officially made the decision. I feel that you and I have very similar hearts in that when like these profound moments where there's like a line in the sand and there's no more like wishy-washy should I, shouldn't I? It's like I will, and it's full steam ahead. And like
for sure.
And I almost feel like there's a few people even from your LTL class that I think have very similar mindsets, very similar to that, where there's a goal and you become so hyper focused on that goal and you're not distracted by all like the shiny objects that can come up along the way. Like, should I do this or should I do that? But you're just like, okay, this is the path. This is how I'm going to get here. And I'm going to take every necessary step to make that happen. And I love that. I remember when I first started and I was like, I'm going to be a newborn photographer. And my goal was, I was like, I'm going to be the best newborn photographer in Tampa. I'm like most highly trained newborn photographer just from my NICU background. And I just had this vision of that and then worked diligently to get to a space of having that reputation. But then I pivoted into the full service and going all in on that. And those moments I think have been like, you just look back on the years and you think that was incredibly, like those are anchor moments in your career.
Oh, for sure. I will never regret the path that I was on and the path that I took, and doing those weddings and meeting those people. Like they're having babies now. I love them. Like I still talk to a lot of my clients, and like it gave me such an experience at such a young age to be in these real life situations and real life events, and learning how to navigate this is something that like is a foundation in who I am as a business person. So yeah, I will never regret it, but I do remember on our first one-on-one when we just started the call, or we just started the LTL, and on our first one-on-one, you said to me, this is going to be a really hard year for you. And I was like, it's fine, like, sure. And I don't know if I've talked to you about this, but like, you were correct. It was such a hard year, but this has been such a transformative year, and I'm just excited to see where all things go. Like now that I'm on this path that is full of like, it's already shown me what it can do, and I'm really excited. So that's just always been in the back of my mind, is you telling me like, this is going to be a really hard year for you. And I was like,
And here you are, and you're clearly crushing it. I can see it on your.
But all summer when I was like finishing out my weddings and still trying to like burn the ship, is what we've talked about in LTL. I was like burning my business down back to the ground, rebuilding it, but then also finishing out my contracts that had been already done, like signed. And I'm like, Brittany, this is such a hard year. Like I just kept telling myself that, but we're gonna get through it. And now we're on the other side, and I'm really excited for what's to come. So
that is like, honestly, it's really inspiring to hear and see you. And I hope I didn't scare you, but sometimes sometimes when I sit down with people, I feel like it's a disservice to sugarcoat things for people. I think I had that experience as a nurse, especially being in an ICU when things are not good. And I remember hearing a physician really paint a picture that was not a reality for that family. And what really sucks when you're a nurse is that when they walk out of the room, you're the one that has to deal with the aftermath of what they just said. And so when you sugarcoat something and then days in it's not going that direction, it's hard, you know? And so I feel like the more honest you can be with somebody with the path that's ahead of them,
Mm-hmm.
the and not to scare them, but to be honest, and transition. I mean, any transition is hard, whether you're going from digitals to you know, products, or you're going from collections to whatever, or you're leaving the entire niche that you're in to a new niche. It's going to be challenging. It's not really a question of if, it's just like, when will it get hard for you?
Well,
So
that's the thing that drove me to like connect with you is I was watching your stories before, you know, I had joined the wait list email. I was like watching it, watching, you know, your stories play out, and I was like, she is the only person that is so brutally honest, and I need that. Like, I don't need to be like pat on the back or like whatever. I was like, I need to be shown results, data, and I need to be like told exactly how it is. And I just could like get that like vibe from you through socials, and then we started coaching, and I was like, tell me exactly what I need to do so I can like make the changes that I need to change. And I don't know, I'm just really thankful for you and
oh,
everything that you guys have done. So
well, I'm so glad that you made the leap, and obviously like seeing how it's changed your life is amazing, because now you have your weekends and you
what do I do? What do people do on the weekends?
I know you yeah, I mean, because like for the last 8 years that's like been your existence.
Yeah.
And so to be able to have that, and then I also think being in the product space, we work with a different clientele. Especially, I know people who are listening right now, like our clients very rarely expect us to work weekends. I think when you work in a very specific niche clientele that you know, really they themselves work really hard Monday through Friday, and they understand the personal sacrifice that it takes to give up a weekend, they actually respect the fact that you don't offer weekends. It's just like a very different thought process in the portrait space. And I think for people who are listening that maybe haven't found that clientele, like I always like joke, and I say this, but we had a situation with a client who wanted us to come in on a weekend, and we needed to it was for a very short, something very short, it didn't take very long. And I was like, I just looked at Sarah and I said, Sarah, you don't ask your dentist to come in on a Saturday to clean your 2 front teeth. Yeah. He's not going to come in, even if it was your whole mouth. He's not going to come in. So it's okay. You know, and I think for Sarah, she felt this need to give up her personal time and to sacrifice for the client to make something happen. And I love that about her. I think that's such an amazing quality. I think that shows how much she cares, but I also think it's really important to have boundaries. And it's like, you got out of weddings to not give up your weekends, and to and so being able to have that in the portrait space is so amazing. Okay, so I also, like, I heard you mention your husband Ian, and like doing all of the unpaid labor in your studio with your dad, you said?
Yes. So my father-in-law, his dad, and Ian, I think, I don't know if they may have realized the scope of the project. I think it was myself that did not realize the scope of the project when I said what I wanted. And I think the two of them got in there, and I mean, I will forever like owe both of them. They did, like, seriously, it was every weekend for a year, 10 months, and late nights. And I mean, that still is true today. Ian does all of our artwork installs, and he comes to all my clients' homes and does all of that. We joke he's the maintenance guy in the studio. If there's ever anything that needs hung or fixed, any furniture, he's there. And I really relate to your guys' first couple episodes, and I'm excited for the features with Zach, where he talks about, you know, being a husband to an entrepreneurial spirit and just what that looks like, because it is hard. There are days where I just have to like lean on him, and he doesn't really know like he doesn't really know like exactly how to like I'm just so strong-willed that I think it'll be helpful for a lot of people.
I feel like Zach and Ian need to go get beers together.
Please.
They need to, because you and I think have very similar personality types. Like,
Yes.
we know what we want. We're full steam ahead. We're like, it's not, are you going to help me? It's get your ass out here because we're doing this.
They're so supportive. He's never told me no. He's never asked questions. He just does it. And he knows that like there is no stopping me. So you are either on with me or you are just there's no other option.
Yeah.
So yeah, he is like the behind the scenes of Brooke Elizabeth, and he has been right there along this journey with me. I mean, he has seen firsthand how the change and how that has looked, and I think he's always believed in me. I mean, we celebrated my last wedding the day after. We had like a little cake and stuff for us. We went out to dinner, and he gave me this sweet card, and it was like, I usually don't save things either, and I saved this one. And it was like, was talking just about how much like he believes in me and believes in this process with like artwork and how this is really doable. And I remember he came to me, and his dad asked him, he was like, so what are you guys gonna do after she's done doing weddings? Like, are you guys going to be okay? And he was like, of course we are. Like, Brooke is going to figure it out.
Yeah.
So he's just always been so supportive. And I think that's really important in a partner, especially with
100%.
someone like us with our strong personalities. We're just...
Yeah, 100%.
So.
Zach has installed 3 different floorings, 3 different studios. Yeah. And so he's, when we got to the 4th studio, he's like, we're not the contractor doing that. The contractor is going to be installing the flooring this time.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
but yeah, all the unpaid labor and the cheerleaders, and I think they're just like so incredibly important. And I do think entrepreneurs in general have a fairly like, persistent personality, at least if you've made it several years in. I think that is a personality trait that is important to being able to move the needle, is to be persistent and to really truly know what you want, to be the go-getter.
Yeah.
And not to say that Zach isn't that person, but I do think it takes the right personality to balance that.
For sure. Well, and bring me down when I need to be like it's okay. Things like he levels me out a little bit. So
Yeah,
we need that.
yeah. The other day he said something to me, and he goes, "This is the exact same thing you said last year. Are we having the same conversation again?" and he just was like bringing me down. He was just like, "You're literally freaking out about something that's a non-issue," and I just and so I love having that. So it's really special to get to see like like just to like know that in the entrepreneur space that we're not alone, especially being married, and knowing that it can like spill over into after hours and all the things.
Oh my gosh.
Zach and I have identified like our trigger points, the things that really get us mad. There's like and we've also learned each other's lanes. Like, we're like, that's not the lane that I will cross into, and you will stay in yours and I will stay in mine. Yeah. But by the way, this letter that you were talking about, you need to have TPF frame it. Like,
oh yes, I do.
Yeah,
I am like a chronic thrower. Like, I throw things away, and like I don't keep things. I just like purge my house all the time. I have hardly anything. So the fact that I kept it is great. Now I need to frame it.
Yeah. Zach wrote me this letter. I don't know where it is. I'm sure I will stumble upon it in some box at some point, but he wrote me a letter on my first Mother's Day, and it was like tearjerker. He gave me like a women's pocket watch and talked about time and like all these things with my baby and how my baby will know me the longest of anyone, and like it was just the sweetest thing ever. And I'm like thinking about it, I'm like, I need to frame that as well.
Yeah.
So okay, so if you could give any advice to somebody who's in the wedding space right now and is considering making the pivot like you have made, what would it be?
Oh my gosh. I would say this is cliche, but I would say do it scared. I was terrified. I was leaving something that I had worked so hard at to build, and I built it, and I was leaving. And I had so many people like, why would you do that? Like, this is what you wanted. And I was like, well, not anymore. So
Yeah.
I would say do it scared. I mean, it's possible. Like, there's other avenues, there's other ways to make it work. And if you're not loving where you're at, you need to do something about it. Because I was considering, like, do I just stay in this and like hate what I'm doing? I mean, I didn't hate it. Like, there were parts I liked, but as a whole, I knew that there was something better out there for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say just do it scared.
So let's talk about like what it looked like over the last year, because you obviously started LTL in January, and that's when you really started to make the pivot into portraits. You were still shooting weddings though up until a few months ago. So like, timeline for people, the two have overlapped now for about 9 months. There's been like a 9-month overlap where you were still a wedding photographer and still a portrait photographer, which I think is really smart. I coached somebody very early on in the LTL beginning years, and I remember she quit weddings. It was like one day she had them, and then the next there was, I don't know if she just didn't have a lot of like forward bookings, or maybe she just didn't really start to make the pivot until the last one was coming. Which to me is not wise. I think there does need to be like some overlap so that you're bridging yourself out of one niche and into the next. But I remember she was like at the brink of the transition. Like, the last wedding was happening and she was just starting the transition. And I remember she said to me, I need a microwave. I need this to happen instantly. And I actually, like, that's where I incorporated how LTL is a slow cooker.
Oh my
it's
gosh,
not
Brittany.
a microwave. You don't just get to snap your fingers and suddenly you have bookings and you're pulling the same amount of revenue as you would in a wedding. You have to have this ease, this overlap, which is where I think like the value ladder that I teach you guys is so helpful, because it does help you make the transitions when you're like phasing things in, whether it be with products or services. You're phasing something out and then you're phasing something in. And so, the fact that you also had a 9-month runway essentially to lift off what you're offering, to get your marketing in place, to start getting baby plans and things like that, to give you that sustainability is huge. Do you feel like 9 months for someone who's listening is doable? Do you think that 9 months worked for you because of how persistent you are, and the average wedding photographer would need more like a year?
So I would say I think mine was more so like a year and a half. When I was starting my first transition, it was July of 2024, and like, I had this low moment where I was like super sick, like I said before, and I had already begun like not sharing weddings on my social media.
That's right. You technically started the transition visually, like storefront wise. You had started that earlier.
Yep. So on my Instagram, I had started only really sharing my portrait work, a lot of stuff in the studio. And then July of 2024, I was like, I'm taking this off my website, because then 2025 inquiries were coming in and I had already booked what I had booked. I think I had booked around like 10 to 15 for this year, which is lower than what I normally do in a year. So I felt good about that. Like, that felt like a good end number. And so when I got that, I was like, okay, I don't want to continue booking these. I'm going to take this off my website. And at that time, people were already kind of messaging me. It was obvious. They were like, are you still doing weddings? Like, I really don't see anything of the work, but I know you're there on Saturday, because I would post it on my stories and stuff. So I was really intentional with what I chose to share. And then I still had my wedding couples for this year, and I made it very clear. I think I sent them a couple emails, and I was getting on the phone with a couple of them just to let them know, like, I am going through this transition. I don't want you to think that I care any less about your day. In fact, I'm like super excited that I get to like spend this last wedding season giving you my absolute all. So I was very straight, like I was very forward with my clients and wanted to make sure that they were top of mind. And then slowly doing more and more stuff on my socials on portraits. And I did start for 2024 into where I started LTL. I was a collections-based model for my portraits. And that was, I was giving them a print credit just to start like dabbling into that world of artwork and products and people not leaving with just digitals. To me, that was like a stepping stone, which was great. It was like
Do you feel like it was a good stepping stone?
I wish I would have just started with a value-based model like I had now. Like if I could have started LTL in 2024, that would have been great. But I feel like for that year where I knew I wanted to start doing products, I just hadn't done your course yet, or your mastermind. That it was a stepping stone that like it probably would have caused less confusion for my clients because now I am not offering collections, and some of those I had to go back and say, hey, we're offering this full service now and things look a little bit differently. So yeah, it was about a year of doing collections and then starting LTLs. So it was a slow process. It's not quick, but
yeah. So probably anywhere from like a year to 2 years realistically.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's super
Just because
helpful.
weddings are they're booked so far out. Like my friends are talking about September of 2026 that are in the wedding industry, and I'm just like, I can't even comprehend that date in my mind.
Yeah, I know. It's definitely, I know it's such a commitment in the wedding space for sure. And I have so much, obviously, like respect for wedding photographers in general because I know how hard weddings are physically, mentally, like it's just draining.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I also feel that, you know, from what I know of the wedding space and the wedding photographers I've coached, I just feel like there's so much more time involved in weddings that
Yes.
almost like people don't account for and don't compensate themselves for. And
The
so,
amount of times you were told it must be really nice to work 1 day a week. And because, like, on the wedding day, they're like, so
yes.
what do you do the rest of the week? And I'm like, what do you mean? How do you think that this gets done? Or like engagement photos or planning the timeline, planning the shot list, like just
Networking, building relationships with
Yeah.
vendors, like it's
Yeah.
so much more than people give credit to.
Yeah.
And I think too, almost like photographers don't even give credit to themselves and how much time that goes into it. I remember I coached somebody in the beta group who has completely shifted out, like she's completely out of weddings and have been out of weddings now for like 5+ years. And I remember getting on her midway call and she goes, so yeah, remember how you made us like run our numbers and literally like from the moment that we like receive the lead to like the consultation call to the onboarding process to like, and I make you guys like calculate out how many hours you actually spend, not just like how long were you like shooting and how long were you editing, but like what was all of the like time that happened on the sidelines to get to this moment, how much time were you commuting, all of these things. And she's like, yeah, so I did that for my weddings just because I was curious. And I actually realized that I was barely even making like minimum wage after I factored all of that in per wedding.
And this is like physical, like, yeah.
Yeah, and she just like no one had really like helped her to think, and of course she was also factoring in, you know, because I really like my goal is for photographers to treat their career as if it was a career working for a corporation. Like if you know, are traveling, like your travel is being paid for, your mileage is being paid for, your time away from your family is being compensated. It's not just the time that the camera's in your hand, right? And so the time traveling and all of that, and yeah, just really making sure that you take those things into account too. And I think collectively as an industry, if we were running our numbers a lot better, we would be as a whole, we would be in a lot better place.
I agree. But
But
when I did run those numbers, I was like, why am I doing this? Like, the biggest thing for me is time, and we don't get that time back. Success to me is time with my family, time to travel, time to do what I want to do, and I wasn't getting that with
yeah.
where I was at, and I knew I needed to. I was really just competing on price and my time, and giving away my time on the weekends. And I knew when I was transitioning, I was like, I need to do this correctly. And by correctly, I mean, I knew I wanted to go through a program like yours and just learn how to scale so I am not running myself to the ground anymore.
Yeah, yeah, and I think
So,
weddings are in general just exhausting. I mean,
yeah.
I like just the whole like double header thing, and whew, gosh, and it's just like standing.
Well, we want to start a family soon, and I just knew from like I have friends who have kids and they have to like go do these weddings, or they've been pregnant during wedding season trying to plan their pregnancy around like their slow and busy seasons. And I just looked at it and I was like, I don't want to do that. Like I don't want to do that. And then when I do have kids, I don't want to have to be missing those things on the weekends. And yeah, I saw a different life for myself than what weddings were able to provide for us. So we made that pivot.
That's so awesome. Well, this has been like such an amazing episode. I've loved hearing your journey, and I really hope that the wedding photographers that are maybe listening to this and are trying to decide whether or not this is the right time for them. I hope your insight and sharing, what's been the driving, force behind the decision and what it's brought for you and where it's taking you. And I love when you said that, like, for you, time is the thing of most value. And it's not all about money. Obviously, we want to get paid and we want to get paid well, but being able to have time with our family at the end of the day is just as valuable as the money itself. Okay, so I have to tell you, I am going on a vacation. We're going to Montana. We are going to have a white Christmas. I honestly have seen snow twice in my life. I have no idea what I'm getting myself into. Feel free, send me all the recs.
Oh, I will.
But it was wild to me because our Airbnb host, I messaged her and I was like, hey, I know this is like a really small town. Can you give me some recommendations of photographers? Maybe I'm just like, because you know how keyword searching can sometimes, because you're in such a small town, you're not finding people who are actually the closest proximity to that small town. So anywho, so she recommended this elopement photographer. She actually sent me a couple, but the elopement photographer, I was like, wow, these are epic. This is what I want. And so I messaged them and they sent me a proposal. And they typically do 30-minute sessions. And it was, in the 500 range. And then they're like, yeah, but there would be a $200 travel fee. And like, and I could tell in the verbiage that they felt that the $200 travel fee was, like it felt like they were almost apologizing for giving me this travel fee. And I was sitting there and I was like, I don't actually think $200 is, I actually feel like I expected it to be significantly higher. I did not know this, but they relocated and it's a 3-hour drive for them to come to where we are.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so that's
one way.
I think it might be, I don't know. Like I didn't fully grasp if it was 3 hours one way or well, we can just, you know what? I'm just going to go Google it. We're going to figure out if it's 3 hours one way or if it's, so let's just see. No, it's 3 hours one way.
Oh my gosh.
So, now so yeah, holy cow, 3 hours one way. 6 hours for only $200. And this is what I mean. I'm like talking about like charging for your time. Like I just think to myself, for you to sit in your car and be away from your family for a total of 6 hours, it's an entire day. So they were like, well, we could upgrade your session to a full hour, which I'm like, I have 4 kids. Why the hell are you offering me a 30-minute session? First of all, I have 4 children. It's going to take,
It's gonna take the whole 30 minutes just
there's
to.
going to be at least, if you like had a time lapse of it, there would be 15 minutes of just shenanigans throughout the entire thing. Like there would really, in that 15 minutes, only be like 15 minutes of shooting.
You and
Um,
I with the whole like fall mini session thing. It's just we all feel this. You and I.
nope, we're not doing it. We're not
No,
doing
I
it.
think we're on
No.
it.
And so, yeah, so 30 minutes, $200 travel fee, 500, so we're at 700. And I just sent her a message and I was like, well, let's just upgrade it to a full hour. We can do 2 locations if you feel like it needs to be longer. Because at that point, I mean, in my mind, like, I'm thinking that's so significantly lower than like anything I ever expected to pay. And I think, too, even hearing my mind right now, for people who are listening, like, I, in my mind, am anchoring myself at, I expected to spend at least 2,000.
Yeah.
So, and for me, like, this is a once in a lifetime thing I'm going to do with my kids.
Yeah.
This is going to be some of the first experiences of snow in their entire life.
So cute.
So for us to be able to go and be in a place we've never experienced, and honestly, Zach and I've never even experienced together. And so I want these photos to be epic. I want them, and so I'm willing to pay like top dollar for them. And I reached out to them because I think that they're the best. But then when I saw the pricing, I was like, oh my God, I just want to help you. So of course, I don't know what the cost of living
Enter
is
the wait list link.
Yeah.
26 LCL.
Anyways, here's a little link to my program. I don't know what, obviously, I don't know. I mean, they moved from a small town to a very big city. So maybe they are making that transition into their price point in Montana. But yeah, I definitely think that it's really important for every single moment that you are serving that client, whether it be texting them, preparing a style board for them, backing their images up, editing their images, like correspondence via email, making the proposals, has to be taken into account. And then when you think about a wedding, like with a wedding, because you're speaking to, like, aren't you like the planner? Like, aren't you having like correspondence leading up to with like
Meetings,
all
like
the other moving parts?
Yes. And that's all like not taken into account when someone usually will do like, well, you charge this much and it's a 10-hour wedding day. So they just take that and divide it. And they're like, wow, this is your hourly rate. And it's like, not really. Like you are not seeing the rest of the picture. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't understand that. And when it comes to even just in general, I think something that you've taught us to do really well is like audit everything and take everything into account. You are running this business as a business. This is not some side hobby for me that can just be what it is. This is like how I provide for my family, and it needs to make sense. Otherwise, why are we doing this? So
100%.
I think that's something that you've really helped with.
The barrier of entry for photography is so low that there are people who are just doing it as a hobby. And I think that really disrupts a lot of the progress that we make in, I think, a little bit of the understanding of what goes into this is because there are people who aren't making this a career. And aren't
photos.
Yeah. And so I think too, obviously the people who hire us can see that and don't want to choose the company, company with that style of, that level of investment in their clients. Right. But yeah, it's so true. And I feel that data and numbers and understanding that is actually incredibly empowering and feeling like, wow, I actually am making this work and I am compensating myself for what I would have in a traditional corporate job. And I am taking into account, I think about, so I love watching The Prophet, if you've ever seen that show. I feel like he has a spin-off show now, but the way that the restaurants weigh their food and they literally will weigh the portion sizes. And I was sitting the other day at an Italian restaurant and I was watching them clump together the like fettuccine and putting like weighing it and then creating these individual servings so that they had. And so you think about how for restaurants to be successful, they literally have to weigh every single noodle on your flipping plate. And so the same thing applies. Like if the restaurants are weighing the noodles, we need to be like nitpicking everything as well. And so, and you know, even into all of the things that we do on the sides, like building our wardrobe. I know I've helped people realize that they made no money in their job because they wasted it all on client wardrobe. They just love to shop, and their career just feeds this other like passion of theirs is their client wardrobe.
I think that's where I am now. I'm at this like point where I went through this transition, burned the boat, like burned the ship, whatever that week one mindset thing is, it sticks with me still every single day.
The saying is, and I believe it was Caesar Augustus who said it originally, and then Tony Robbins has said it before, but the saying is, and please gosh, if I am wrong in who said it, just like don't come for me guys, okay? But the saying is if you burn your boats, you will take the island. And it just like very visually I think of like whatever is holding you back, like whatever is the boat that you are in right now, the only way for you to push yourself to swim to the island is to burn the boat. Otherwise you will stay on it forever because it's your safety net, and that safety net for you was your weddings.
Yeah, I mean, I had built it and then I was like, we can't do this anymore. And this entire year, like rebuilding, and now I'm in this spot where we've rebuilt it. We've done better than we ever have. And now it's like, where do we go next? And I'm using a lot of your tools of like auditing your time, auditing like how much money do we bring over here and how much do we want to spend on this each month, and like all these things that people don't think about is what I'm focusing on now, just to make this process just to make this sustainable. So
yeah, I love that. And like pieces of me as a mom are so happy you're doing this before you have kids. I think Zach and I would equally agree that we wish we had taken more risks before we had our first child. And everything, I will say that once you have these little people, your purpose becomes so different, and but there's something to be said about doing it when there's nobody else relying on you.
We want kids, and I wanted to have a better foundation for ourselves before we made that decision, because even like the lifestyle that we were doing during weddings, I was just like, I need to do work on myself, and this is not sustainable for like the life that I want to have with kids. So I'm really excited that I've have these pillars now, and I was just working to a better spot so we can eventually soon hopefully have that. So
yeah, I'm so excited for you and the journey ahead and a family and all the things. Tell us where everyone can find you.
Yeah. I'm on Instagram at Brooke Elizabeth Photo, and Elizabeth is spelled with an S.
Yes.
And then Brooke Elizabeth Photography is my website. So
amazing.
Yeah. And then our studio is also Brooke Elizabeth Studio with an S as well. So we have some fun.
In your home. Are you kind of in are you in the suburbs or?
No, we're kind of in the north metro of the cities, and we're a little out there. It's a little north, and our neighbors, we all have some land, and they all have chickens. We do not have chickens yet. So it's originally we were a little worried doing this. I was like, well, if nobody else wants to use this space that we've created, I'll have a really nice office.
Yeah. And so you found that your clients are willing to commute to you?
Yeah, the average commute for my clients is usually like an hour to 90 minutes. So,
That's amazing.
which I really, really, really appreciate. There are a few that are like in this North Metro area, but most of them are not, and it means everything that they're willing to come to me. So,
Yeah, and it's also really amazing to hear that you're able to still equally be successful. I know for a lot of people, geographical has been like a major hang up for them, and trying to get out of being, an in-home option that's in the suburbs, trying to get more
yeah.
central to be more accessible to more people, is always like obviously ideal. But it's amazing to hear that your clients love and adore you. I mean, obviously I would too. I would make the commute. Um,
It
so
was really pretty. My husband and father-in-law did a really good job. It's a really, like, the light in there is beautiful, and yeah, so it's a good service. It's like when you can tell your clients that you don't have to clean your home, you don't have to rent a studio. I have that. Like, it's a really good thing to offer my clients who don't want to have to worry about that. So
yeah, that's amazing. So I have one question for you.
yeah.
Albums or frames?
Frames, which is crazy to me because when we were doing LTL, I fully thought I was going to be albums. Like, I remember going through the courses and being like I have albums. I have
Obviously
multiple
being the
from like
wedding
everything.
space.
Yeah, but like I have for even my personal life, like I always do albums and stuff. And so for whatever, but like I also love frames, and I have this behind me, like our little gallery wall.
I love
Um,
it. It's so
but
pretty.
my clients love frames, and so it's been framing, which has
I
been
love
really
that.
fun. 'Cause, like Ian gets to come along with me, and it's been really really fun seeing things every day. I mean, like walking up and seeing this gallery wall every day, like
Yeah.
is so much easier to like show the value of it. I mean, albums are great, but it's also like you see these photos on your wall every single day. So, yeah, it's been frames.
Right. I love that. I have to like chuckle a little bit for if anybody's like not watching this on YouTube and you're listening. There's
Oh
this
yeah.
beautiful photo behind Brooke, and it's Brooke and her husband walking on the beach, and Brooke is pulling him along, and she's looking back at him. So we see Brooke's face, but all we see is the back of Ian's head. And I have to tell you this really funny story. So our wedding was published. We were published in The Knot, and then we were also published in, we were the cover of like Northwest Florida Weddings
Oh,
or
cool.
something. And poor Zach. So our first, we had our save the date come out, and it's this photo of Zach kind of kissing me, and you really see like sort of the kind of the profile slash
Yeah.
top part of
His
his face.
head. Yeah.
Yeah, there's not, you can't see a ton of him. And then we the first publication comes out, and that was the cover of Northwest Florida Weddings, and it's the top of his head. It's this photo of him, and he's kind of like wraps his arm around me, and he's sort of like almost kissing my neck, so you see the top of his head.
Yeah.
And then The Knot came out.
Oh
And
no.
so we opened the magazine because we didn't know like what was going to be in it until
Yeah.
it like hit the stands. At least this was in 2012. We didn't get to have any like say in what went in it. And like it's this photo. Well, one, there's like a few of me and like solo. Like there's one of my hair. They talk about my hair. There's a few venues. There's me solo, and then there's a photo of me looking up at Zach, and I have tears in my eyes, and it's shot from over his shoulder, and it's the back of his head, and so he literally is like, okay, at this point, what's wrong with my face? Like I clearly, like everybody is telling me that my
They're
face.
choosing, yeah.
So I'm sitting here looking at this photo of the back of Ian's head, and I'm like, Ian and Zach would just probably have a great time talking about
Oh my
the back of
gosh.
their head making the
Yep.
photos.
Yep. Now I'm always gonna see this on the wall. I'm gonna just I'm only gonna
So
see
wait,
the
let me see
pictures.
the other ones. I know
Yeah,
I've seen
now
them
I
on
feel like I have to
Instagram.
show
Let's
you all
all
of
see.
them. So like he's in there.
Okay, he's in there. He's
He's
in
in
there.
there.
Lots of profile shots. I love it.
Yeah, he's in
Aww,
there.
so
But
sweet.
our
Okay,
save the
good,
date was
good, good.
similar. It was like you can't see us. It was because we shot it in like San Diego, and we were on like the Sunset Cliffs, and I thought that was so cool for our save the date. So our save the dates, like you can't even tell who's getting married.
I love it. That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for being on with us and sharing all of your wisdom. And if people message you, would that be okay?
Oh, please. Yes.
Okay,
Love
so if
that.
you have questions about making the transition, Brooke is open inbox. So thank you again, Brooke, and I can't wait to see you grow and thrive in the years to come.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. If you're a photographer with a service-driven heart looking to consistently deliver printed artwork to your clients, my group coaching mastermind, Leveraging to Luxury, is opening very soon. Whether you're just starting out with product sales or you're a seasoned expert in the sales room, whether you're in a small town or a big city or international, this is the proven strategy that has scaled hundreds of photographers to multi-six figures with products and services and not their time. This is the exact model that has now scaled my own business to 7 figures with a team. In this 10-week intense mastermind, you'll learn everything from how to run your numbers more strategically as a business, to mindset, to the value-based pricing model that is scalable and truly designed for the benefit of the client. I'll teach you everything from consultation calls to the sales room process to how to guide your client in a very intentional way that only generates the best result for them, but also for you. If you can imagine, it's like riding shotgun in my own business while I am getting in the trench of your business. I take just a handful of students one time a year. So if you're serious about making changes in your business and 2026 is the year for you, applications open very soon. Join the waitlist. The link is in the show notes.